Dublin, Ireland. So far on the channel, it's been mostly Italian towns. But this time, I'm back home. And I finally get to show you the town where I grew up. It's where I was born. It's where I went to school. While I'm here, I'll show you some little secrets you never knew about this town. I'll show you the history and the people. And then I'll end it there. Just kidding. Not a chance. I head out west to trace the steps of my ancestor, who once ruled this country. And while I'm doing it, I'm on the search for the best chowder in Ireland. Get ready to see some of the most beautiful places in the world. Oh, and some watches too. We love those.
Dublin is actually my hometown. It's where I was born and raised. I know some of you think I have a bit of an American twang going on. That was 20 years in New York, guys. But before that, I was in Italy for a time. But before that again, born and raised till I was about 20 years old in Dublin. I went to school here. I went to college here. You know, this is my town. I'm a Dublin boy through and through. No matter where I go in the world, there's some Dublin still in me. This is the river Liffey. It goes through the center of the city and divides the city in two. It's the reason why the city really exists, because every large city in the world is based on access to water. Usually if you look at old towns, they're based around a river of some sort, and this is no exception. The Liffey is kind of the center division between the north side of the city on that side and the south. And there's a big rivalry, just like I think everywhere around the world there's a rivalry between neighbours. The north siders don't like the south siders and vice versa. Now, I'm a north sider through and through. I'm definitely a north sider at heart. We're considered the ones with all the character, and the ones on the south are considered the ones with all the money. So it's there's been a lot of jokes and so on. What's the difference between a north side and south side girl? The north side girl has fake jewellery and real orgasms. I'm on Leeson Street. It's a pretty famous street, well known for Dubliners, because for the longest time it's been where all the late night life would go down, you know. Men with a little extra cash would come to these nightclubs, pick up girls.
How are you, lads? We're after coming from a conference.
Go on, lads. Go on.
Thanks very much.
All the clubs are kind of in the lower areas of these buildings. There's offices upstairs. Look at these beautiful buildings. It's actually a gorgeous street. But up above you have offices and even some schools. But down below in the basements you have nightclubs. There's one across the street there called Legs. Perfect. The legs on her. Oh, she's beautiful. Look at the legs of that lass. Now, while it was under British rule for hundreds of years, Dublin was originally a walled city. There was a big wall going around the entire perimeter. It was a way the British used to control import and export in the city, but also a population control mechanism. If there were any signs of upheaval or of revolution coming from the people of Dublin, all they had to do was close the gates and stop any food or water coming into the town. That was a really good way of making the people behave and shut up. Now, of course, Ireland has been a free country for the most part for over 100 years now, so that wall is long gone, but there is one remaining piece of it still standing, and that's right behind me here. This is the final piece remaining of the Dublin Wall, and people pass it every day not knowing what it is at all. It's sitting right next to an anonymous looking apartment building there, and it's just around the corner. People don't even give it so much as a glance. There was actually another partition around the Dublin area, a much larger one that scaled from farther north to farther south, known as the Pale, which later became a nickname for the entire Dublin area. The Pale served as a way to keep others out, namely the Irish, the Celts, the Gaelics from the rest of the country, including my own ancestor Grace O Malley and her clan. And if the term the Pale rings any bells, it should. You see, back then it was considered a no-go zone to go outside of the region of the Pale. It was no man's land out there, the Wild West. And the Brits didn't like to venture out there because they didn't have as much strategic control over those regions. They were ruled mainly by Irish clans. So it was considered unacceptable to go outside the region of the Pale or beyond the Pale, which is where the terminology comes from, of course, meaning out of bounds or unacceptable or forbidden, beyond the Pale. What's up? How are you, man? No, I'm not live. No, I'm just recording. What's your name?
Chris, I'm the watchmaker.
Oh, you're the watchmaker?
Yeah, I was just in Brandon's there, just dropping a few pieces back, and
Oh, really?
looks like rushing from behind there, saying you're doing the GPO,
Yeah, I'm just trying to gather in all the culture I can. Of course, there's more of it on this side of the Liffey than there is on the
Look
other.
around here, they're all pulling the place apart, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
This whole place apart again, yeah.
It's changed a lot, man, but there's a lot that hasn't, you know?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
shit still here, like,
Yeah. So you were dropping off watches today?
Yeah, I just did Brandon's there, now Collins Street, and then I head down to Capel Street, and then Grattan Street, I do them during the week, yeah.
Nice.
Dropping a few repairs back, yeah.
Nice. That's good stuff. What are you wearing? Oh, good boy. What on earth is that? Hold on.
Regulators.
Fucking hell, look at you. That's a watchmaker's watch.
That's a watchmaker, that's a real, that proper one, yeah.
Lovely to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you.
And
Yeah,
thanks for
very
saying
much,
hello.
Happy birthday as well. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
thanks
yeah,
very
yeah,
much, yeah. Now, a lot of the imagery and monuments you'll see here in Dublin have to do with the resistance to the British, of course. Just over 100 years ago, a rebellion was led by people like James Connolly and Eamon de Valera, and this chap here on this statue here, James Larkin, or Jim Larkin as they refer to him. He founded the Workers' Party here. He was a socialist, and he led the 1913 lockout, of course, which is the famous lockout where absolutely everybody got up and left their place of work. It was a general strike to show our resistance, and he would give these great speeches where he would tell the people to rise up and overcome our oppressor, and people would say that his speeches were so magnanimous, and he was such a huge force as he stood above the people that they said his hands were larger than life. And if you look at this statue, the hands are like double the size of what they really should be. And right behind the statue on the other side of the street there, you can see the GPO, the General Post Office, which was where the big battle went down. It was the showdown in the 1916 Rising with Michael Collins and so on, fighting the Brits. A lot of men lost their lives in there. A lot of British soldiers lost their lives outside on this side of the street. Basically, they were shooting from those windows. And to this day, you can still see bullet holes in the General Post Office and in James Connolly's statue, which is just down the end of the street. Ireland eventually gained its independence, or most of Ireland, except for 6 counties in the north. That's a whole other conversation, but most of Ireland became a republic again in 1922.
Being back in Dublin is exciting. The town is bursting at the seams and has even more energy than ever. I'm seeing a fun and laughter in the people. And it feels like a beautiful mixture of the old town with new soul. A friend of mine once said, every time she gets off a plane in Dublin, she starts to cry. The colours are rich, and the eyes are smiling. It took us 100 years, but we got our country back and started the hard work of beginning again.
Before coming, a lot of you suggested I bring a green watch, of course. Green and gold, right, are the colours of Ireland. It is, after all, the Emerald Isle. But believe it or not, green is not the national colour of Ireland. It's actually blue, a deep azure blue. The original coat of arms for Ireland was, yes, the gold harp that you recognise from all the cans of Guinness, but with a blue background, not green. So rather than wear a green and gold watch, I decided to wear a blue and gold. That is the Rolex Submariner Bluesy in full gold. And if that wasn't Irish enough, Dublin's flag is also blue. It's the 3 castles on a blue background. The sports teams here in Dublin wear blue. Blue is extremely important, not just in Ireland, but especially for Dublin. But there's an extra parallel with this watch that I've been noticing since I've been back. You see, when I left Dublin, I left with very little money. I was a struggling musician for years and years, and I certainly didn't have a nice watch on my wrist. And Dublin itself was quite the same. It was a lot more rough around the edges that I'm seeing today. Dublin is now a rich town. It's full of fancy cafes and restaurants and flashy cars. And it's also very multicultural. When I left Dublin, there was an emigration problem. People were moving out. They were going to university here, getting skills and trades, and then leaving the country for work, going to London or to New York or the Far East, anywhere but here. Now it's the opposite. People are coming to this country. When I left here, I certainly couldn't afford a beautiful watch, or I wouldn't even consider wearing a fucking asshole solid gold watch. Now all these years I've come back and I'm that asshole. My memories of Dublin are of a much tougher town with a lot less money and a lot fewer cappuccino places. In short, while I wasn't looking, Dublin went off and bought itself a nice gold watch.
You know a town is doing well when a slew of beautiful luxury watch stores opens, all in a row, These new boutiques by Paul Sheeran are making Dublin look like Vienna or Paris. I had no idea these were here at all. I also had no idea the channel was so popular over here. Looks like I've been spotted. But hey, maybe there's a free cocktail in it. And I won't refuse if offered.
Is it you?
It might be.
Mr. O'Malley.
How are you?
It's very nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Jeff.
Lovely to meet you, man.
How are you? Here for the event?
No, I'm not. I'm just filming around Dublin just by chance.
Oh, no way.
And I just wandered down here. I wasn't even aware of these new stores.
We opened up at Christmas time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, well, I run the Panerai one.
Oh, really?
It's all posh here, and yeah, we're here for the opening of the tag.
Great job.
Jeez,
I mean, finally, yeah, man, absolutely.
Thanks for all the content.
I was down at Weirs, but I didn't even bother going in. I was just filming the outside. I've just been going slowly up Grafton Street, trying to capture, because I'm doing an Irish episode,
Brilliant.
Dublin and all of that.
So
I was just wandering down here, and then this is on. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Come in and have a look.
Sure. I don't have long. I've got enough time.
Take your time.
Welcome to come in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
While I'm trying to have fun here and rediscover Dublin, there's something that keeps bothering and distracting me. I'm not sure I ever noticed this before, but the sky is racing overhead. Clouds don't normally move this fast. Do they? Nobody around me seems to notice or care. Perhaps it's not real. Maybe I'm being summoned. Someone knows I'm back home, and they're trying to send me a message. And I think I know who that might be.
I'm on the grounds of Dublin Castle, right here. It's a gorgeous building. It was very, very old, but a lot of it was burnt down a couple of centuries ago, I believe, and they had to rebuild it, so it's a lot more modern than you would imagine. There is one side of it that's all old, the original Dublin Castle, but it's still a beautiful building. Whenever they have diplomats or world leaders in town, there's always like a banquet here in Dublin Castle for them, I'm not going to bore you with the inside of the place because it's all real British stuff, because we were ruled by them for so long. Most of the artifacts in there are all like the Queen and the realm and the crown and all that bollocks. Mind you, the O'Malley crest is hanging in there for much of the year as well, which I guess is kind of cool. But I will give you one anecdote here. If you look up on this side, you have the lady there, the scales of justice, you see, with her sword, and of course the scales to represent good and evil. There was a problem with that statue because, of course, with the wind and the rain here in Dublin, is quite often the scales would tip to one side or the other depending on the rain. And people would get superstitious. The Irish, very superstitious people. So the people of Dublin would look up and go, oh no, it's on the evil side today. We're all going to have bad luck. So they had to drill a hole in each one to let the water go through and stop people from freaking out every time the scales tip to one side. Classic.
Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. The immortal words of Oscar Wilde. And if you ever wondered where he was educated, Trinity College, Dublin, is the most esteemed university in the country. And it's right here in the city centre. Where many of the young great minds of Irish culture begin. The old library is a must-see if you're visiting Dublin.
Yeah. You watching O'Malley?
Yeah.
I watch your videos. Nice to meet you.
You must be the youngest viewer I have.
I think so, yeah. You met Tyler from Harmon's a while back, did you?
I did.
Are you on stream at the moment?
Not on the stream, but
No,
you
you're
might
so
wind
kidding.
up in the cut. You guys are twins, are you?
We are, yeah.
What's your names?
I'm Luke. I'm Luke. I'm Jamie. That's Luke.
You forgot which one you were.
We respond to both. We respond to both names, so I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. I'm probably just nervous.
You're James.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie.
Nice to meet you.
Oisin.
Luke.
Oisin, lovely to meet you guys.
Yeah, you too. I hope we aren't interrupting you with anything, are we? At all?
No, not at all. I'm just
sure.
shooting Trinity. I finally got in here on a kind of a nice-ish day.
Just up the street is St. Stephen's Green, the largest and most popular of a series of Georgian garden squares. These dreamy parks adjacent to busy shopping areas counterbalance the traffic and buildings that soften the city. I suppose we take our parks fairly seriously here. Only a mile and a half down the road is the largest enclosed public park in any capital city in Europe. The Phoenix Park is twice the size of Central Park in New York. It's got zoological gardens, cafes and tea rooms, and even some wildlife.
This is Christchurch Cathedral, standing here about 1,000 years. It's one of Dublin's more iconic landmarks, especially with the arch bridge back there that goes right over the street. Still a working street as buses and trucks passing under it all day long. Inside here you'll find a lot of cool stuff, a lot of tombs and various artifacts from over the centuries. But two of them I find particularly striking. The first one is the cat and the rat. When they were carrying out a restoration of the organ back in 1870, they found this pair stuck in one of the organ pipes. Assumably, that was the end of a long chase. The rat took his chances, hoping there was a way out on the other end. The cat followed him. They both got stuck, and that was the end of them. If you look carefully, you can see the cat's whiskers still intact. Who knows how long they spent in there before they were found. But the most interesting tomb in there, I think, is that of the second Earl of Pembroke, the Lord of Leinster, Richard de Clare, also known as Strongbow, for his incredible achievements on the battlefield. His body is laid to rest here inside in a rather somber looking tomb, but the most amazing part is what's right next to him. On his left is a very small tomb that seems to be incomplete. Well, actually, it's said by many that that is in fact his son, or at least the upper half of him. See, back then, men like this, they wanted sons. They wanted masculine sons, sons that were brave and courageous and ready to go into battle at a moment's notice. Well, it seems Strongbow's son was a tad on the effeminate side. This was unacceptable for Strongbow. And the story goes that he handed his son a sword and said, "Come on, be a man and fight me." When his son turned him down, Strongbow took the sword from him and cut him in half above the waist. He'd rather have no son than carry the shame of having a son who was not living up to the masculine image that he had shown the world. Just think of it, these days you could offend someone by so much as addressing their masculinity. Back then you might wind up in two pieces if you weren't man enough. I think we've evolved.
Cristiano is the main guy there in Panerai in Venice.
Cristiano, I still haven't been. I haven't been to Florence either.
Yeah, if you ever go in, let me know, because I know the lads. 93.
3.
Oh, you want to show it to him? Bring it over to
Yeah.
him? Yeah, bring it over to him. I'm happy as Larry here trying on watches and drinking beer. You brought me into my element immediately.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I like all the
I'm trying to work out a trade here.
Yeah, just give me all these. Well, of course, this one wouldn't work. How much you want for this? Like 25?
Nope.
More.
Going.
Keep going. There's the complications. It's Rose.
Situated on a peninsula to the northeast of the city is Howth, a small fishing village dating back to the 14th century. It's a great place to disappear to on a sunny day. I used to come here whenever I skipped school with friends. But coming back after being away so long, I realized just how sublime and majestic this place is. Some come here for a fun day out and some fresh air with the family. Others come alone to reflect. Dublin was a hard town to grow up in. Dreary and grey at times. And Howth was a little piece of heaven to escape to. As you can imagine, it's a popular spot for first dates. Lunch along the harbour, then a dreamy stroll on the pier. If she was going to let you kiss her, this is where she would do it. The ruins of St. Mary's Abbey overlook the scene. And on a clear day, Ireland's eye seems almost close enough to touch. Next to the Abbey is the tavern. I had a job here once, running a soundboard for traditional musicians. 25 quid and a couple of free pints. Good deal. Of course, I've got to try the chowder while I'm here. It's still pretty good. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. But if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous and happen to be wearing some sturdy footwear, there's always the cliff walk around Howth Head. This is where things begin to get really special. Made famous by James Joyce's stylistically dense and wandering novel Ulysses, this is where Leopold Bloom proposes to Molly at the end. I'll admit, it's the place I thought I would once do the same to some unlucky lass. But you don't have to tackle that book or get engaged to appreciate what's around you here. The silence and panorama is enough to make anyone's heart swell. The rolling waves against the rocks and the appearance of the lighthouse with the outline of Dublin Bay feels like something from a feature film. Still, those potent last words of Molly's from Ulysses always come to mind here.
Brawled as a young girl where I was a flower of the mountain, yes. And I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again, yes. And he asked me, would I yes, to say yes, my mountain flower? And first I put my arms around him, yes. And I drew him down to me, so he could feel my breasts all perfume, yes. And his heart was going like mad. And yes, I said yes, I will, yes.
At the Summit pub, I sit with my younger brother for a sunny afternoon pint. And I want you to take note of this strange-looking tattoo on the underside of his forearm. That's actually script and has a meaning. More about that later. We head down to the bloody stream by the train station for one last pint and to try their chowder, which proves to be one of the best I have on this entire trip. The general rule with chowder is the plainer it looks, the better it tastes. While I'm here in Howth, I have some other business to tend to. I want to come see a castle where an old relative of mine once passed by. A swashbuckling warrior who plied the sea on warships that men normally would have commanded. Grania Niwalia, or in English, Grace O Malley, was a radical, mold-breaking image of a woman. She was a rebel and was named the Pirate Queen of Ireland. A feared figure on land and sea, she had an army of over 200 men. She ruled primarily from Clew Bay on the coast of Mayo on the far west side of the country. One of my destinations while I'm here. In a time when women were to be dolled up in gowns and jewels and lie fainting on a couch, this woman was ruling the seas and had a slew of fortresses along the Irish coast. And the English were often confounded by her bold disregard for their carefully construed codes of conduct. Reminds me of someone I know. Her story is one of courage and celebrates the role of a female as an equal, centuries before that was ever heard of. But on her way back from England, around 1575, after meeting with Queen Elizabeth, where they discussed the future of her country under the shadow of British annexing, she made a stop right here in Howth. Unannounced, she showed up at this castle, hoping to be admitted to dine with Lord Howth and obtain supplies for her voyage home. But she found the gates of the castle closed against her, something she felt to be a breach of ancient Irish traditions of hospitality. As she left, she met the Lord's grandson right here in this garden and invited him to come take a tour of her ship. She abducted the boy and took him to Clew Bay with her. A kidnapping. He was returned on the promise only that the gates of Howth Castle never be closed at dinner hour, and a place always laid at the table for unexpected guests. To this day, that rule has been held. I don't need to tell you the irony of the fact that when I arrived here, I was not allowed admission either. They were shooting a film on the location, and the castle was closed. The thought of abducting a member of the crew did cross my mind. If that is Grace watching me through the clouds, she's probably having a good laugh at this. It wouldn't be much of an Ireland trip without a visit to a few classic Dublin pubs. After lovely chowder at Dohenny and Nesbitt, I head across the street to O'Donoghue's to meet with one of the great watchmakers of the world. Steve McGonigle of the McGonigle brothers. has made watches that have captured the world's attention. Painstakingly handcrafted timepieces that in some cases come with price tags into the hundreds of thousands. But lately he's branched off by himself to make something slightly more affordable. His new McGonigle watch takes design cues from one of his other passions: rugby.
Did you deliberately make it this kind of texture as well?
For the straps, yeah. So that's rubber. So I went to this company in Switzerland. It's like one of the best strap companies in the world for rubber. And I actually bought a ball and I said, lads, you see this? I want that on the strap. And they were like, we can do whatever, because they'll laser scan the ball. So that's exactly the same, you know. When they actually did get it finished, they were like, damn, this is a good idea. You know, it feels nice, it's good, you know.
Yeah.
So,
it's got a grip.
Yeah. But it's just a nice little touch. You don't have to be a rugby fan. You don't have to, doesn't have to, for the wearer, doesn't have to have anything to do with rugby. It's just a touch, you know, different, to do something different to anybody else, you know. The more complicated the piece is, the bigger the problem becomes. The closer you get to the end, you can really mess it up. You know, you could put the tweezers in somewhere it didn't need to go. You could scratch something, say a bridge or something that means stripping the watch down completely, refinishing that, replating it, whatever has to be done to it, and then rebuilding the watch. So the closer you get to the end, the stress goes up and the risk goes up until it's actually in the customer's hand, you know. By brushing, you know, there's an awful lot of watchmakers who love their gargle, you know. Oh yeah, I mean, there's this thing I heard almost as soon as I came to Switzerland, when people are polishing beveling, you know, or doing you know, pivots, polishing pivots. There's a whole gang of them using this as an excuse, but that was a white wine time, you know. So when they're polishing pivots, they'd have a white wine. I don't know why, but it just sounded to me like an excuse, you know.
An excuse.
But I tell you, when watchmakers get together, it might sound boring or a little daft, but lunatics and boozers, big boozers, you know. And I think it's a release, you know, because like you said, you're like this in this little world for hour after hour after hour after hour, and then then you go at it. I'm glad we're of the same mind, you know. I don't get much chance, so when I'm back, I love going to, you know, the classic pubs, meet friends. Yeah. Neary's, Class. I mean, all these pubs with the long hall. You see the clocks in it? Fabulous.
Really?
Oh, fabulous clocks, yeah.
I have to get over there.
Yeah. Regulators. They've got 2 or 3 down the wall, behind, well, 1 or 2 behind the bar, and then further down. Beautiful, beautiful. But class pubs, you know.
Behind me here across the street is Ireland's oldest pub, the Brazen Head, established in 1198. Yes, you heard that right. It's nearly as old as the city itself. And you'll notice that apart from the front facade here, the actual building is a little bit farther in behind. It was rebuilt in the 1700s, but on the same plot of land. And the street has actually evolved since then. It's so old that the street is actually fattened out. So it was actually set much farther back than it is right there, at least the entrance. But the original pub on the inside is the same as it was all those years ago.
I had been avoiding it, but I was urged by family members to go. In this part of town, there was no sign of the British Crown to be found. Kilmainham Gaol is where all Irish revolutionaries were held. And in May of 1916, after the Easter Rising, 14 rebels seeking Irish freedom were executed, including James Connolly, Joseph Plunkett, and Thomas Clark. As I walk into these cells, I feel a tightening in my chest. The kind of person I am, had I been born in that era, I would have certainly wound up in one of these cells myself. Men who sought to free Ireland from British rule were labelled terrorists and locked away. This is where they sat in the dirt and cold and wrote poems and essays to the world outside. It may not be the prettiest of tourist locations when visiting Ireland, but every last man, woman and child in this country has these men to thank for independence. Whenever I'm back home, I always make a point to pop in and see this. The masterpiece by Caravaggio had been considered lost for centuries and was found by accident at a local Jesuit centre, hanging in, of all places, above a kitchen table. Over the years, the cooking in the kitchen had left a thick layer of grease over the painting. When this was later removed by experts, the colours looked brand new. It's now one of the best preserved works by the artist and remains one of the prized possessions here at the Irish National Gallery. We don't have much, but we've got this. La cattura di Cristo nell'orto depicts the scene of the arrest of Jesus Christ. The main figures are Christ himself, John to the left, and of course, Judas. The powerful imagery is almost like a photograph taken by a witness to the event. It's what makes Caravaggio so special. but in typical Caravaggio form, his vanity shows. He can't resist putting himself into the painting. Here he is on the right. I'm not a religious man, but the look on Christ's face, knowing this would happen and what's to come, haunts me to this day.
I'm here outside St. Audoens, right next to Christchurch Cathedral, just down the street, as a matter of fact. And it's a very interesting church because it's got a very interesting story. If you pass the church on the left and go down those steps, there's an amazing secret to be told. For the longest time here in Dublin, there was a problem with leprosy. Who knows if they were all lepers or if it was just ailments that they didn't understand at the time. But either way, the sick were separated, of course, from everyone else. But the sick wanted mass, they wanted a sermon from the church just as much as anyone else, maybe even more. So what would happen? The lepers would come here to these steps to listen to mass through those windows. They would leave all those windows up there open so they could actually listen to the sermon, and they'd congregate all along here on these steps. You can just imagine how spooky. Hundreds of coughing people, ill people, all crushed in together on these steps. And over here there's this gate where they would receive Holy Communion. They would come up these steps and wait in line here at these bars where their Holy Communion, basically just bread that was blessed, would be handed out to them through these bars so that they didn't get close to anyone and infect anyone on the inside. Somebody put graffiti behind me here, and it's clearly a hangout spot for some homeless down here now. I can see there's some signs of people hanging out, drinking, doing whatever else. But I wonder if they knew the story of this place and if they could envision the hundreds of sad souls sitting along these steps. Would they come down here at all? Probably not.
I'm still distracted by this sky. The ancient Irish spirits continue to fly overhead, and I feel it's time to finally go pay them a visit. At the National Museum of Ireland, the most tangible evidence of them is to be found. What you're looking at is language. The ancient Ogham alphabet dates back almost 2,000 years and is unlike any other in the world. Remember my brother's tattoo? The artifacts in here are a haunting reminder of a rich and expansive civilization. The gold neckbands and bracelets indicate a very ornate people. But out of everything in this museum, there's one thing people travel across the world to see. Nearly 3,000 years old. The bog bodies are some of the best preserved ancient human flesh in the world. What were these people doing? Did they have a god? Or several? Other famous artifacts include the Ardagh chalice, the priceless work of art was found by accident on a potato farm. But the most famous one of all, and the inspiration for much of modern Irish design and jewellery, is the Tara brooch. Each individual element of decoration is executed so perfectly, it represents the pinnacle of early medieval Irish metalwork. The range of technique represented on such a small object is astounding. Just south of County Dublin is Wicklow. Often described as the Garden of Ireland. I take a walk from the small town of Lara along the trail toward Glendalough, a 13th century monastery that has captured the world's attention because of its beautiful lakes, a haunting cemetery, and its perfectly preserved round tower. I used to stay at a hostel here on my hike through the Wicklow Mountains. Looks like it's been replaced by a B&B. But the Woolen Mill store is still here. These are the finest handcrafted woolen garments you'll find on this side of the country. You'll only find better on the Aran Islands in the far west. You'll see that in part 2.
What time do you open in the morning?
10 o'clock.
Lovely. Thanks so much. See you then.
Oh, we'll see you then.
Bye bye. This used to be the hostel. It's all boarded up now. Had some great laughs in that place. Going hiking and camping and going from hostel to hostel throughout Wicklow. Good times, good memories, good friends. I'm doing the hike from Lara to Glendalough. But I remember thinking, you know, if hobbits do exist, or leprechauns, or whatever, they definitely live here. You know, this whole area is considered a national park just for its splendid beauty.
This mystical path continues down through the valley, and there's an eerie feeling of being watched by mystical Irish characters. The animals here don't seem scared of people at all. And there's a strange, quiet peace in the air. A mile or two down the valley, and you get to what most people come here to see.
These round towers served for three main purposes for the monastery. First of all, they were bell towers, so if you ring a bell from up there at that height, it's going to reach a farther distance. Secondly, they would serve as an indicator that you were arriving at the monastery. You could see this thing from quite a ways back. You have to remember this is a long time before there were big roads and signs and things like that. So you'd be approaching and then you'd see the round tower from a mile or two away and know that you were getting close. But the third and most important reason for these round towers was actually for defense. If there were any attacks or invasions, the monks would climb a rope ladder into the first window, which is quite high up, pull the rope ladder up behind them, and then any would-be attackers can't get in. So the monks would just remain holed up inside the round tower as they watched their entire monastery be pillaged or destroyed by Vikings below, and they'd just have to wait for them to just go away, and then they'd come back down. They would also make a fire inside and boil water and continually throw it out of the top windows down on any would-be acrobats who got some funny ideas about maybe trying to get into that first window. So it was their little haven, their little sanctuary, and their defense against any attacks.
The only thing more impressive here than the round tower is the upper lake. Which on a calm day looks almost like a mirror. Continuing further up the trail, you approach the Sally Gap. One of the most mystical places on this side of the country. This untouched land is primarily bog, peat, and there's barely a soul to be seen anywhere. You're not supposed to do this, but I couldn't resist sending my drone out over the Lugala estate, home to the Guinness family. This is where you live when you're worth over $1 billion. 5,000 acres that include thick woodland, waterfalls, steep granite cliffs, and of course, Tay Lake. But I'm careful not to lower the drone too close. I'll probably never see it again. A pleasant stop at Powers Court House and Gardens for some tea and cake with me mum and sister. Finishes the day off nicely.
One of the most coveted assets on earth.
I know she's watching me. Yes, Grace. I'll come see you soon. I promise.
Bono and the Edge walk into a bar. The barman says, "Oh no, not you two again."
Oh, come on.
What? That's great.
Terrible.
I've been a limo driver for 25 years. I've never had a single customer. All that time and nothing to show for it. Show for it.
Time to meet an old friend. Myself and Dave were inseparable at one point, and he even came to the States with me the first time around. But he returned to Ireland, and I didn't. He has since become one of the most recognisable voices in Irish radio.
Sean doesn't know what a calendar is. Never get behind the devil in a post office queue, for the devil has many forms.
Doesn't seem to matter how long goes by. When we meet up, it's like we just saw each other yesterday.
Steak frites. I was gonna say, like, I was looking at the cassoulet, but like steak frites gonna be.
Yeah, man.
That's me to a T. So yeah.
Let me guess. Well done.
No, medium rare. I'm not an animal. I mean, I might like cheese on my burger, but I'm not a well done steak. I saw they had raisin bran, and I love sultana bran, which is what we have in Ireland.
Yeah.
Raisin bran. And I've never had a raisin bran, and I'm like Shelley. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Irish. She's called me Irish. Yes, Irish. I was like, can I get raisin bran and a banana? And she's like, yeah. And like, we sat there, I think, for about 4 hours. Like, breakfast was over.
Trust me, Dave and I can yap on about all sorts of nonsense like this for hours. But I'm eager to pick his brain about how Dublin has changed over the years that I've been away.
It has changed. I mean, we're looking at a Patagonia shop there, you know, beside a French bakery that does unbelievable macarons. You know, like, it's, I think as Irish people, we are learning to accept that someone is here in Ireland and not always ask the question, which still happens, yeah, but where are you really from? Because the question would be like, where are you from? I'm from Drumna. Ah, yeah, but where are you really from? You know, that's lifting. There's a generation of kids coming up now who go, where are you from? I'm from Drumna. Oh yeah, nice to meet you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's where they're from, you know, and it's not...
Like New York.
But this is it. Like, where are you from?
From Queens.
I'm from Queens. You don't go, yeah, but Puerto Rico originally. Like, no, you're just from Queens. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So I think there's a shift towards that. But look, these things are going to take generations.
There was a knife attack yesterday afternoon outside a primary school. 3 children were stabbed. One of them, a 5-year-old girl, was critically injured. 2 adults are also still in hospital. The incident likely a catalyst for the rioting.
A week after I met with Dave, this happened. Intensified by conservative talking heads on social media, the building of anti-immigrant tension has been growing in the streets of Dublin.
The internet doesn't allow for nuance, it doesn't allow for context, it doesn't allow for fact checking. It just presents you with, here's the immigrant smashing our windows. Well, that's actually a video from Algiers in 1994, but you just said it was Dublin yesterday, and everyone who looked at it glanced at it when they were and believed you. As a result, there's an underlying belief that Ireland and Dublin in particular has some kind of seediness to it, which every city does, but no more so than any other city. So the north side of the city, which has always been a rougher part of town, it's just the way cities are built, and there are areas that you probably shouldn't go at a certain time of night in the same way there are in every city. But a couple of really bad, beatings and robberies happened in a row, and so now the average person on the street, because of the way news is consumed, is probably going to say to you, yeah, Dublin's gone really rough nowadays. Well, there were 3 really bad incidents, like, I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
But that's all they were. And then the crazy guy off to the side going, I told you, these Ukrainians of fighting age are here, and why are they not women and children? Like, all of a sudden he seems like, well, there was a very violent attack there the other day. Was that a Ukrainian? I don't know, And that frustrates me, because that isn't Dublin at all. And yes, there are thugs from Dublin, and there are thugs from France, and there are thugs from America. They're from everywhere, but they're the tiny little minority that are causing some problems. But as you said, you walk down the street, it's a friendly place. Dublin is a great place.
you welcome, please, Phil Linnett.
Here he is. Oh, look at that. From England. The stones seem to be sort of on Ireland.
Irish. I'm Irish. You gotta get that right.
Well, Great Britain, British.
No, Irish, Republic of Ireland.
My goodness.
There you go. That's very important.
Number 1 in the world, Ireland take on the defending champions, South Africa. It's a Pool B match, which could easily be as tight as a facelift. Welcome to Stade de France with South Africa.
From their graves I heard them falling above the battle cry. By that bridge near the border, there were many born to die. Then onward over the mountain, outward towards the sea. They come to claim the emerald. Without it they could not leave. He wants one.
This guy's face is in my face every day, every night.
That's called a freakum dress. I don't like Beyonce, but she has one good song. Freakum dress. Get your freakum dress on. Get your freakum dress on. Every woman got one. Get your freakum dress on. It's a good stream, isn't it?
At the far end of Leeson Street is the Grand Canal. Another place where time stands still here in the city of Dublin. The sense of peace and calm here is unrivaled, and I'll often take a detour just to walk its banks and breathe its air. But if you wander up far enough, you'll find another person whose favourite spot this was. Irish poet Patrick Kavanagh sits and stares in deep thought. Artist John Cole was inspired to make this monument based on Kavanagh's lines written on the seat of the Grand Canal in Dublin. But when I see this sculpture, I wonder if perhaps he wrote my favourite of his poems, right here on this bench. A heartfelt expression of unrequited or veiled love. Something I relate to more than I care to admit. On Raglan Road, on an autumn day, I met her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare that I might one day rue. I saw the danger, yet I walked along the enchanted way. And I said, let grief be a fallen leaf, at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of the deep ravine where can be seen a worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such and such is happiness thrown away. I gave her gifts of the mind, and gave her the secret sign that is known to the artists who have known the true gods of sound and stone. And word and tint I did not stint, and I gave her poems to say, with her own name there, and her own dark hair, like clouds over fields of May. On a quiet street where old ghosts meet, I see her walking now, away from me, so hurriedly, my reason must allow. That I had wooed not as I should, a creature made of clay. When the angel woos, the clay he'd lose his wings at the dawn of day. Knowing I have to leave soon, Dublin has warmed my heart and broken it at the same time. After living abroad for so long, coming back here makes me feel like a little boy again. I'll always leave some of my soul in this town. But I know it's time to head out west. To the old Ireland. To go find Grace and show her that I'm okay.